This holiday season, every time you purchase a 12-ounce SnortBucks coffee, a portion of the proceeds will be given to the Penny Foundation, the world's premier charity dedicated to helping down-on-their-luck content creators pay their daily bills.
I need that money. I really do. I need that money. I need my bills, the electric bill, the internet bill.
So stop by your local SnortBucks today and help send some penny their way.
"2024 is stacking up to be one of the most, if not the most interesting year that I've ever been on the internet for me and possibly you."
Oh, look at that.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome.
Oh my God!
If you had just learned to laugh at yourself a little earlier on, then it would never have gotten this bad.
All right. Season's greetings and happy holidays from everybody here at GTG Network and Productions, Snort Report, DSPNEWS, SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company, and all of our subsidiaries and affiliates. Hopefully you guys are doing well, continuing or starting, depending on what order this gets uploaded, our 12 days till Goutmas. Hopefully you guys are all doing well and whatnot. Best wishes and happy holidays to you and your families. And, you know, we're either starting or continuing the campaign, yet again, depending on the order that this goes out. So, what do we have today for y'all? What's the goodies that we, what's the present for the day today? Let's see here. Give me a second. Go ahead and hit our little Goutmas wish list. Yes, we are here with Memology 101. DSP tries it. Celebrating Twitch ban of a detractor. No one cares about Evo and toxic to viewers. This is from August 4th of 2018. The link will be down in the description. Now, oh boy, I think it's probably fair to say that the detractor in question is more than likely Almighty Tevin. At that time, if for those of you who remember or who know, Tevin wasn't the only one banned at that time. Bill Purnell and They Call Me Tex were also caught up in that gouty gay ops as well. That ended up getting all three of them. I actually, now I think about it, I think Tex and Bill had a joint channel with each other too. So there's actually 4 channels, to be honest with you. I think that might have gotten taken down as well, but don't hold me to that. But yeah, that was DSP pulling ops as usual to try to get back at you know, anybody that was gonna affect his kingdom at that time, which was Twitch, which was a pathetic attempt that literally led to nothing. The way I see it, I didn't see any real value in him doing what he did. But It is what it is. The petty will do what comes to nature, if you will. Anywho, that's what that's what our scenario is. So here, let me go ahead and set up our scenario really fast, and we can get right to it. So actually, let me do this. Drop that, and let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, this should be it right here, actually.
We're back to a new year.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is it. Oh boy! All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and get started on this because fun times to be had. Let's drop that. Yet again, seasons of greetings and happy holidays from everybody here, and go ahead and get into what our scenario is. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Memology 101. DSP tries it, celebrating Twitch ban of a Detractor. No one cares about Evo and toxic to viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, this was published on August 4th of 2018. The link will be down in the description. Oh, so much salt and hate. It's and it's the holiday season. It's the season for giving. Gosh, Phil, not be toxic during our holiday season. Here we go.
We're back to a new year. We're hitting the ground running with lots of action and stuff going on streams. Let's talk a little bit about everything that I've been up to recently and what you can expect this coming week, because it's going to be a variety of stuff for you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. People have been incredibly supportive, all right? That's awesome. Thank you so much. I need a gaming chair. Amazing. Sponsorship. Thank you, everyone, for the support. Buy a chair. I feel so positive. Just want to say again, thank you guys very much for your overwhelming support. Let's try this again.
Okay. There's some things to point out here. Now, I'm not sure if you guys might even remember this, but this right here, I'm pretty confident, but I could be wrong. It would be the first time. This right here was the meal that he had right before Cat showed up. It was two, It was two, like, food truck themed sandwiches or something like that. And if it's what I remember, if this is the DSP tries it that I remember, it was two food truck themed sandwiches from Jack in the Box or wherever the fuck it was from. And this idiot, this guy was so broke. He ate half of it the first day, the day that he recorded the DSP tries it, and then put the rest of it in the refrigerator and ate it the next day. That's fine. It is what it is. He was probably drinking more than anything. And you know that alcoholics take in the majority of their calories through alcohol, obviously. Or through the sugar content in alcohol, I should say. So that's what he did with that. I'm pretty confident that this meal, if that's what you want to call it, is. Oh my God. So broke at that time. And keep in mind too, around this time as well, that was late 2017, he would wear like shirts like what you're seeing here to keep himself warm. And he would post pictures on Instagram. Because he didn't want to turn the heater on, or he told people he didn't want to turn the heater on because he didn't have a lot of money, and he didn't want his electric bills to go up. Oh man, so many small situations, so many small little nuance type scenarios like this that paints the bigger picture. What a piece of shit. Anyway, here we go. Oh, another funny thing too. Remember, he was by himself at this time, right? So he's using a tripod for this. Now remember, he couldn't do DSP tries-its in the current day and age. Or sorry, there was a period of time where he wouldn't do DSP tries-its, and they were like, well, wait, couldn't you just set up your tripod and do it there? Well, no, man, once I get my food, I just want to sit down and eat. I don't want to record everything. And whatever. Then when Kat got there, maybe she'll show up in playthroughs. Maybe we'll do DSP tries-its. Maybe we'll vlog. You never know. None of that happened. There was other scenarios too where he had the opportunity to do something. I think Cooking with the King. I think people were asking for him to do that. Oh, well, how am I going to hold the camera and cook? You have a tripod. Oh, well, I'm going to have to change angles. I'm going to have to do this, that, and the third. Well, Kat's there. Oh, well, she's not comfortable being on camera yet. But then again, before she moved in, keep in mind, she was the one who told Phil, allegedly, to announce her presence and whatnot, because even though she didn't want to be part of his content at that time, she did want the audience to know that she did exist. And then, obviously, when we first were introduced to Cat, he was like, I am here, I am a person, I do exist. Oh my god, so much just silly shit. Just absolute silly shit. Literally dick behavior.
Who gives a shit and rip my teacher's head off? What? You're just a piece of crap. I'm looking at my taxes. Half the fucking game to fix it. Have a good night.
I will say, great screenshot, by the way. I wonder if PPP saw that right before Phil went. Never mind. Anyway, I will say that lonely DSP, or DSP when he was living by himself, because he was never really lonely. Because even when Panda left him, my personal theory is he had Cat already in the wings anyway. But whatever. But the segment of time, the short amount of time, which was probably less than a year if you really think about it. Because if Panda left DSP in what, April or May of 2017, and Cat moved in February of 2018, you know, that's not long. It's like, it was, shit, 10 months? Less than that, maybe? Maybe less than that, but certainly less than a year. In that period of time that he was allegedly lonely and by himself, because he didn't actually hint to that there was somebody else in his life until August. I don't think he let the cat out of the bag, no pun intended, till November or December. Anyway, he was a wreck. Like he was lost. Like you could see, like he was just absolutely fucking helpless during that period of time. Not just the drinking, staying up late on Twitter with his drunken posts, and obviously tweeting John and Howard in the middle of the night or early morning or whatever. But like that dude legitimately couldn't function. Like him cleaning his house was like a Herculean type fucking effort and shit, right? It was like the 12 trials or tasks of Phil Burnell and shit. Like that dude was an absolute mess, absolutely useless. This dude cannot function without a woman in his life, or just without another person who's really doing the heavy lifting. So with that being said, when you look at his situation with Kino Casino, it makes even more sense. Because how DSP does anything is how DSP does everything. I promise you that. I've been preaching that shit for years. I promise you that's how it is. And he demonstrates it almost every single time. When he's by himself, solo, and he has to fend for himself, he always falters. Always. It's a guarantee. It's probably one of the most uniquely, it's probably one of the most unique things about him, to be honest with you.
And from RFHC5, he cheered and he brought up something that has to do with someone who's a detractor of mine. Listen, I'm not one to bring them up, give them attention where they don't deserve it. And I'm not going to revel in any kind of disciplinary action that was taken towards someone who's basically made a living off of.
That's until Tevin ended up getting his partnership back a couple years later, and getting partnership, and well, he got reinstated back on Twitch, and then he got partnership, managed partnership. Then DSP goes on Twitter and tries to legitimately raise a flagging campaign against Tevin to get his channel taken back down by having people mass report him to Twitter or to Twitch. Fucking A. And that was only a few years later. Oh, so crazy. So crazy. And then, ironically enough, DSP was certainly behind that. His hoof is all over that shit in some way, shape, or form. Whether we'll ever find out for sure, whether the other people who helped in that flagging campaign will ever come out and admit it, who could say? I'd like to think that someone's going to eventually say something someday. But either way, but Phil was definitely behind that shit, for sure. But the ironic part about it is not that to say that Tevin wasn't already doing streams on DSP before that, and he certainly did back in the olden days anyway, when SOK was around and all that. But when Tevin ended up getting removed from Twitch is really when he ramped up his campaign against DSP for almost daily restreams. And those streams were hella popular. You know what I mean? You're talking about 12, 14, 1600 people watching most of those days and shit, right? Crazy money coming in. If any of you guys remember who Turkey Burger was and whatnot, he dropped, or whoever they were, I should say, dropped in major dough and whatnot. All kinds of silly shit going on back in those days, man. There's crazy money and shit. Tevin's chat was popping the fuck off. It was super fun watching those streams and shit like that, bro. And then that led to the rise of LSB. And then that led to, you know, and then all that. And then Dark Dave Mirrors and, Dark Dave Mirrors eventually ends up coming about. And then you had, Raw Phil. Then Raw Phil ends up becoming, I think, Raw DSP, I think is what it's called now. Big ups to all of them. And so on and so forth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just cascaded into all of this. Because DSP wanted to protect his little fiefdom over there on Twitch. And all he did was spell his own destruction on YouTube later. And therefore after, to be honest, DSP is not safe on any platform anymore. You know? There are detractors on Kick. There's detractors on Twitch. There's detractors on YouTube, obviously. There's detractors on Odyssey, Rumble. Like, you know what I'm saying? No matter where Phil ever goes, nowhere he'll ever be safe.
Of harassing me. That is the responsible citizen or the detractor. Constantly for years. So in that regard, I just don't give a shit. But all I can say is this. It seems like Twitch actually is serious about cracking down on their rules. You know,
UCK, I appreciate the cheer, but please do not reference really bad memes from, you know, a content creator who sadly over the years has proven to be a jerk to me. It's really not necessary. And no one cares about his videos anyway, besides small children. So there's no reason to reference them here on my stream.
Oh, now I got a $1 tip from Tevin. Now who knows if it's the real Tevin, who's a fucking another hemorrhoid on my ass, right?
You know what I mean? Like, they actually are serious. When they made those changes earlier this year to their terms of service, they are seriously taking it in stride, and they're really actually enforcing these rules, even for things that people are not doing on their own site. In this particular case, I believe this is someone.
And see, that's the thing, though. Like, the off-site policy that they initiated around that time, where basically, to sum it up, it's, for those of you who don't know, whatever you do off of Twitch's platform still represents Twitch, right? Especially if you're partnered or if you're an affiliate. Definitely if you're partnered. So any violation that you have on YouTube or on Twitch at that time, or on Twitter, could affect you in a negative way. Obviously, there was different levels because, I mean, look at Gross Score. He got away with a lot of shit before he got any discipline, let alone others. I can name a bunch of other people. But the point being is DSP never ended up getting hit with any of that, and he probably should have, especially some of the shit that he was doing on Twitter, some of the shenanigans he was pulling over there at one time or another. He should have definitely have gotten at least some type of reprimand for something. And never did, as far as we know. If he did, he didn't bitch about it. So not everybody's not everybody's built equal, if to say the least.
Who constantly, on a daily basis, steals my Twitch stream and rebroadcasts it on their YouTube channel. And the only reason this person gets any kind of attention on the internet is because they constantly steal my content and basically make negative commentary over it constantly. Views, views, views. I don't want to be Mr. Views. And of course, you're going to have a certain kind of messed up in the head kind of person who likes that kind of content. I personally am not one of them.
Some of the people that were literally out of his own audience, by the way.
Okay, and I know that you guys watching aren't either, but there are...
That's not true, because people in his audience were caught by the Gouty Gestapo, which was DSP's inner circle at that time, and they were ratting on each other. Some of the guys, well, at least one guy in the Gouty Gestapo was caught over there doing it, but then I think allegedly he said that he was doing it on DSP's... Like, DSP asked him to do it, and that's why. So, and I think he ended up getting away with that. So, but there was... Trust me, there was definitely people playing both sides.
People who like that shit. And so he illegally rebroadcasts my content every day.
And a lot of the methods, sorry for all that, but a lot of the methods to sniff that shit out was developed back then. That's the reason why a lot of guys now are pretty adept at sniffing out some of these pay pigs who are on sock accounts. So a lot of the methods that were developed back in the day is what's being used now in some way, shape, or form, or at least the groundwork, I should say.
And basically, Twitch finally got wind of it and said, well, we don't want someone like you on our site. You're rebroadcasting one of our partnered streamers' content, and apparently he got banned for it. So,
but that wasn't even a good reason to ban him, because the broadcasting was on Twitch, or was on YouTube. It wasn't on Twitch. Like, Tevin was pretty careful about that. Now, I remember there were some rumblings about maybe Tevin had done a stream over there, or maybe Tevin did an older stream, I should say, that of DSPs, that maybe that's what they hit him for. I can't remember what the details are on that now, but not fully. But either which way, it was still bullshit. It was absolute fucking bullshit.
Good riddance to bad rubbish. You know what? Off to YouTube with you. So back to the toxic wastes of YouTube, where these people apparently thrive and are immune to any kind of disciplinary action.
And he really thought he was never going to have to come back. That's the thing that was crazy. DSP literally thought, oh, I'll send Tevin to the fucking ether, right? To the vortex over there on YouTube, and I'll never see him again, and Twitch will always protect me because Twitch loves me and my streams. Few years later, that all fell apart.
It's stupid that they are, because this guy literally steals my content every single day and rebroadcasts it on YouTube illegally, yet somehow YouTube never takes action against him. Don't ask me why. All I know is I don't care. I do my own thing.
That's not true. DSP was trying to flag his shit down. He was definitely reporting Tevin. It just didn't work. Like, basically, the very thing that DSP says, excuse me, that he basically admonishes his detractors for doing, like, oh, you guys keep reporting me, sooner or later they're just going to stop caring. That's what ended up happening to DSP when he tried to get Tevin on YouTube. Eventually, they just stopped caring. Like, it was DSP was wasting his own goddamn time at that point. I think YouTube just stopped listening after a while.
But, thank God that Twitch is actually serious about enforcing their terms of service, and they recognized the toxic person and got rid of them. So, as they say, good riddance to bad rubbish.
And I still think it was a bad, like, if DSP in hindsight really looked at that, he would realize, like, the falter in that, like the folly in it. Because Tevin made far more money and was able to build his name up and build the idea or build the concept of how he wanted his streams to be. Like, literally, this became a training ground for him, to be honest with you. Not only did Tevin develop and lay out the archetype for restreaming, but he also developed his own style for how he was going to stream when he went back on Twitch. Like, DSP realistically helped Tevin, then hurt him. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest. Like, Tevin made far more money and gained far more experience on YouTube than he would have on Twitch at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was really in Tevin's favor. So even when DSP is trying to vanquish his opponents, his enemies, his ops, he's actually helping them. Oh, that's so crazy.
I am diametrically opposed to a lot of the philosophies of people who stream on Twitch and the business itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I want you to understand, if you are a viewer of my content right now and you love the raw gameplay videos and you love the streams that I do now, don't worry. I'm not going to completely change my entire business model. It won't mess with the gameplay footage. I'm not going to stop playing the game. Here we are. I'm playing a game. It's a really tense moment. It's a tense fight. Let's go. Oh, wait a minute. I got a new sub. Pause the game. Here comes a pop-up on the fucking screen. Thanks to Jubbity Bubbity for joining the hate army. You're a great blah, blah, blah. No, not going to do that. Twitch is all about subscriptions. You got to subscribe. Get those custom emotes and shit. Subscribe. That's why everyone over there is all about their sub.
Who he was referring to, by the way, at that particular point, was Angry Joe and whatnot. Even though Angry Joe was soliciting back in 2013, 2014, I think Joe was really soliciting his money on Twitch through his PayPal, if I remember correctly. But DSP shitted on him for that too. And then years later, DSP does the same thing. That's ironic.
Why would I go back to Twitch, where Twitch TV is literally a business model
based off of begging?
I'm not the kind of person that's going to sit here and say, please buy this shirt, please subscribe, please do this, please sub, please thumbs up the video, please see my other channels, please. When do you ever hear me talking like that in a video? By all means, don't subscribe anymore on Twitch, and we'll have to figure something else out. I don't even know what else to say. Twitch basically ditched me first.
Yeah, because I'm not a Twitch TV streamer. I didn't grow up on Twitch. I'm not from Twitch. I'm a guy who was on YouTube, and people wanted me to live stream, so I went to Twitch as fan service. Literally came into my stream today and said, you have to lower the quality of what you're doing, or we're going to basically boot you from the site. And when someone does that, at that point, you know, number one, I'll be honest, I don't feel welcome.
And ad revenue.
All this idiot had to do was lower the fucking bitrate. The thing is funny too, years later, right, he said, oh, well, what happened was, is they came in and they asked me to lower my bitrate. He said, okay, no problem, I'll do it, but other content creators have the high bitrate, why can't I? Phil, drop your bitrate. Okay, I will. But why can't I have what everybody else has? Phil, drop the bitrate. You know what? Fuck you, I'm gonna take my ball and go home. And that's exactly what happened. Never did drop that bitrate. He just took his ball, snorts, and went home.
On Twitch is not great. Even if I were to run a ton of ads, I barely make any money.
Another suggestion, and I'm going to very, very clearly explain to you why this is not going to ever happen. Phil, just go back to Twitch, bite the bullet, go back to Twitch TV.
Which is exactly what happened. Why? That's why he shouldn't speak in absolutes. No one should, honestly. But that's why you shouldn't talk in absolutes like that. Like, you're just going to look foolish. And all of this is on the internet. Someone's going to eventually find it. So, I mean, what's the point?
And stream there exclusively, and stream like everyone else on Twitch TV, where you do streams that are catered toward your viewing audience. So it's more of an interactive stream between you and your audience than anyone caring about the game that you're playing. And we guarantee you that you'll get subs and you'll get more attention and stuff like that. All right. I have many responses to this. Okay. First of all,
Bullshit.
and I can call it right now.
And that right there comes from the fact that he's a pathological liar himself. And he's, in a lot of ways, he's a nihilist, which is weird because I'm kind of a nihilist. But, like, he may actually have me beat. He might. Which is weird because most nihilists, though, don't believe in the concept of hope. Like, if something's going to happen, you got to make it happen. But he does believe in hope, though. So, I guess it doesn't really make him a nihilist, though. It doesn't make him a true nihilist. Because DSP will sit on his ass and hope for good things to happen. I don't. Ain't nobody got time for that. Realistically, you don't have time for shit to just happen that's going to be good for you. If you're not out there trying to make it happen, it's not going to happen. Maybe he has nihilistic type tendencies. Maybe that's probably the better term for it. I don't know. I just know that he's a negative, ruthless vato. And yet he expects all the good things in life to happen to him. Like, he's deserving of it, to be honest with you. Just because you keep feeding your wife a second or third or a fifth dessert doesn't mean you deserve to have good things happen to you.
Bullshit. Anyone who thinks that going back to Twitch TV and streaming there is the magic solution to all of my problems is just so deluded. All right. The Lollipop cheered, and he says, you know, I'm very happy, but I'm a little sad now. I'm happy because your sub goals got hit, but I'm sad because a lot of it was gifted subs. It's not a bad thing, just the subs will end up dropping next month, and we want real growth, not artificial growth, because it's the same as people supporting you, and we need new people to support you to make everything okay. I hear you, Lollipop. And I already addressed this. In part, absolutely. All right, in part, I agree that, you know, is it good to get support in general? Of course. Is it good that people are stepping up and want to support me in a big way? Yes. Can I survive solely on the support of just a small group of people? No. And it's about getting more overall general support in general, and I get that.
So it was never about building a community. That's why this idiot, towards the end, had what? 11, 12, 19? No, I don't know if it was 1,900 subs. I can't remember, but he had a ridiculous amount of gifted subs on Twitch before that shit finally fell. And didn't even have a tenth of the viewership to accommodate the gifted memberships. But he didn't care. He didn't care. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem that he has now. But when you have someone like Asmon Gold, when you have someone like Ludwig or any of those other guys, Ninja, whoever the fuck else that's over there on Twitch at the moment, when they do it, when someone drops like 700, 800, 1,000, 5,000 fucking gifted subs, there's actual people who can actually get that. Usually that day. Usually within those few minutes. DSP's never been in a position to have that. It's always been bloat. It's always been excessive, if you will, compared to the community itself. And at first you could say, oh, well, it makes this community seem like it's larger than what it is. Until you break down the goddamn numbers and you see it's only like 2 or 3 people, maybe actually like 5 or 6 people back in those days, who was trying to inflate Phil's numbers to make it seem like there was more than what there were. Look at now. Now there's what, 3 whales? Maybe 2? Or really just only iced coffee on a bunch of sock accounts? You know what I'm saying? Like, holy shit, bro.
As I said, as new games start to come in, right? New games release, new games roll in, more people check out the streams. That's when that's going to happen. People want a guaranteed payoff.
But it never did. It never did. He always thought, I'll play the hot new releases and new people will come in. And some did, but they never stayed. And they didn't give him money. They stayed. They saw how his attitude was. They saw how incompetent he was. They saw how much of his audience were absolute fucking drones. And they left. Which, to be honest, was a smart move, honestly.
Rather than actually putting time, effort, and work into a game. And dude, did you look at the fucking mirror, you stupid muppet? Leaderboard. Fire Pro Wrestling World tipped me $81 and says, play me. So what I'm assuming here is that this is someone who really wants me to play Fire Pro Wrestling World. And, oops, Wrestling World. FPWW, Fire Pro Wrestling World. Yes, there you go. And so basically they're giving me the funds to buy the game. Well, the bottom line is I already was going to buy the game.
Nigga, that's that bullshit.
I was already planning on getting it later this month. So thank you very much for that. And I am going to be playing that later this month. So obviously your contribution right now is paying for that. Third Eye the Third cheered and said the hard shit would be standing in the kitchen and cooking the raw ingredients and interacting with chat live rather than making an edited cooking video for YouTube. Make that the tier 2 sub goal. Third Eye the Third, you apparently didn't listen to anything I said earlier.
Third Eye the Third was funny. I gotta say, he was pretty funny. That dude was a pretty funny guy. Holy shit.
You're on this pre-stream.
It's very
that was definitely like peak trolling. that was some peak trolling he was doing over there back in those days.
Toxic about how number 1, I would have to totally not stream part of a stream that I would normally do in order to have time to do this. Number 2, it would be boring.
And that's when and just in case you guys don't know, this is when DSP started formulating the idea that you guys have to pay for stuff on the front end. And then you have to basically guarantee him that you're going to show up to whatever the event is and then give him money during the event as well to make it worthwhile. Now, obviously that really didn't happen, but he put the thought out for it. But that explains why shit is the way it is in our current day and age. You know what I mean? A lot of this shit was entrenched years and years and years ago, and it just took him forever to fucking pull the trigger on it.
There'd be a lot of downtime in between the stuff that's going on with the recipe of cooking this live. And number 3, I would totally have to redo my kitchen to make sure hide anything that could be a private piece of information that people could use against me, right?
Oh, you mean like your medication? Not the gout medication, if he's even on that. But you're talking about all the other medication that you might have been on? That does make sense if you think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Especially now, since they have all these appointments and all this, that, and the third. Keep in mind, we're not talking about Cat. We're talking about Phil. Just putting it out there.
It would just be a major pain in the ass. And that's why I'm really not considering it. Man, Dingo tipped me $2 and said, Evo 2018, baby. I pretty much am the last person on the planet to be talking to Evo about. I really don't give a shit about it whatsoever. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a shit.
all right. One of which, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, the game that I'm the best at, you know, competitively in Street Fighter to the point where I was winning tournaments. I was ranked at Evo, right? I was doing really good back in the day when I would play this game competitively.
I do not care.
No. Did he win some tournaments? Yes. Did he beat some notable players? Yes. Was he the motherfucking man like he tries to say he is, or he was hanging with those people? No. If I beat Justin Wong, IFC Yipes, Sanford Kelly, and fucking Smug and Punk in a tournament, does that make me better than them? If I beat them at one tournament? No. I might have been the better man that day, but that don't make me better than them. Because when the next tournament comes up that all them cats are there, and if I can't perform, womp womp, then you're back to wing status, low T, and all the bullshit. It's supposed to be the holidays. I'm just taking shots at everybody. Or if you don't perform well at that next tournament to kind of reinforce the the performance you had before, you're no different than fucking Wings of Redemption and his low T issues. Pure and simple. DSP talks his nonsense about he had a rivalry with fucking Taquito. No, you didn't. The few times that you played Taquito, and I think it's really only once, but you might have played him twice, you lost both times. That's not a rivalry. Sorry. And if you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, it was one-sided. Taquito ain't thinking about you. You were just the piece of pork that was put in front of him at that particular moment. End of story. Rivalry. Holy shit.
At all.
And then let's be shit. I know, like I said, it's Christmas, so it's, you know what I'm saying? I'm giving gifts out, right? The truth is, he was trying to compete and be relevant at a game that was already falling out of prominence. At that point, it was Super Turbo was dropped to 4th out of the big 4. Just in case you guys don't know, the big 4 in the FGC was Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was at the top of the motherfucking mountain. Then it's CVS 2 or Capcom vs. SNK 2. There's a collection coming out for that, by the way, this year. No, next year. Because this year we got Marvel. We got the Capcom collection with all the Marvel versus games and shit. Next year is going to have CVS 2. And I will be playing that shit, and I'll more than likely be recording my matches or whatever. I'll put it like on a secondary channel or some shit. Unless I fall into some memeable type shit where I get my ass just absolutely beaten the fuck up and I have to post it. We'll see. It'll be fun. It was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, CVS 2, Third Strike, and then Super Turbo, which was basically pulling up the rear. So the game that he was putting all this time in was literally dying out. You know what I'm saying? Was literally dying out. And most of the guys who were considered relevant or OGs of those games still were playing it, but they also crossed over to play Third Strike to compete up with the Japanese, or to play CVS 2 to compete up with the Americans and the Japanese. So, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people had their hands in a lot of different stuff. And even then, with so many people distracted with other things and whatnot, he still couldn't make it happen. And truth be told, his best opportunity was in 2005. That PS1 Super Turbo port. You know what I'm saying? He had literally the deck was stacked in his favor and he still fucked up. Womp womp.
I think that, you know, competitive gaming when it comes to Street Fighter in particular is a farce at this point. Street Fighter V is a terrible game, I'm sorry. Even with all of its improvements over the past 2.5 years, it's still a terrible game. There's no fucking real footsies in the game. The game has no reactionary gameplay. It's pretty much just pattern play.
Funny, too, because, like, now you have people who say that about Street Fighter 6. So you got, like, some of these young bucks out here trying to defend Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 6, saying that, you know, hey, this is the future of gaming and whatnot. Street Fighter 4 was the problem. Like, Street Fighter 4 was completely random and just absolute shenanigans and all that silly shit. I'll get into that later. But that's an interesting conversation that's brewing over there on Twitter, or FGC Twitter, I should say. And really, you know, and I just said I'd jump on that later, but now I'm about to jump on it. The reality is, as it pertains to that argument, is like the same thing with the LeBron James, Michael Jordan argument. Like, at the end of the day, for some of the young bucks that are coming up, they're looking at LeBron as the GOAT. The reality is, dude's not Jordan. He's never going to be Jordan. He just needs to be LeBron. The problem is, LeBron doesn't even want to be LeBron. LeBron wants to be better than Jordan. He believes it's his birthright in a lot of ways. And it's not. You're not Jordan. You're never going to be Jordan. Jordan's considered the GOAT. It is what it is. Given his era, given the way the ball, like the game was played, given the situation and scenario, it is what it is. Some people, like homie from Dreamers Pro, who I enjoy watching his channel and whatnot, he looks at the game as the cupcake era. There's a lot of people who look at it like that. The game is soft as fuck right now. Now, do I completely think that? I think there's a lot of talent. But I do think that the rules are set up to where they're trying to keep these guys playing for longer. I don't know if if it really does come down to actual skill anymore when the refs are on your side and shit, and you're getting these silly ass calls and shit. I don't know if we're seeing the best out of the competition when everybody out there is buddy and shit. How hungry are you when you're cool with half of the other team? Like, I don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know I don't really know if that's really the case. And the way the money is, dudes make so much money now that you can literally ride the bench and be fine. You can literally spend the next 10 seasons riding the motherfucking bench, and you may not get to the Hall of Fame, but boy, oh boy, you're going to walk away with millions and millions of dollars, and you're going to be straight. And your family's going to be good. So, you know what I'm saying? How much effort do you really need to put in? That's just all I'm saying. I don't want to get into the waters deep with that. I'll dedicate a whole thing for that, and whatnot. But yet again, it's like that argument between, you know, who's the real GOAT, LeBron and Jordan. It's always going to be Jordan. Period. It's always going to be Jordan. And LeBron making it to the top of the all-time scoring list doesn't change that. It doesn't change it for me. It doesn't change it for anybody that I know, to be honest with you. It's quite the accomplishment. And like I said, I'll clap. I don't mean to be sarcastic. I mean, congratulations and shit. That doesn't change anything, though. That doesn't change anything. I don't put LeBron over Kobe. So there's no way he touches Jordan. But that's just my own opinion, though, to be honest. I'll fight anybody on that.
The game is not good at a competitive level, and this is coming from someone who's played every competitive Street Fighter since Street Fighter 2 released in the early 90s in arcades. I think the only reason that Street Fighter 5 is being pushed is because it's the only fighting game Capcom has for a long time, and so it's like, well, we play this or we play nothing, and our community dies, right? But I just don't give a shit. I never had.
But that's not true, though, because people were still playing Street Fighter 4. People were still playing Third Strike. People were still playing, you know what I'm saying? People were still playing CVS 2. There were still other games out there that were either Capcom, obviously Capcom related games, or others. So, but he tries to peg it on, and this is his problem. He tries to peg it that Capcom was the end-all be-all for all fighting games. This is what ended up getting his ass in trouble back in the day during his quote-unquote tournament organizing days and shit. That's why him and JS Master, yeah, I think it's JS Master. Yeah, JS Master. That's why him and Dead Dude ended up getting into that issue over that Tekken bullshit. Because DSP was talking that nonsense. Then there was that, it was like an ECC where DSP damn near almost fucked that up because he basically was shit-talking the Guilty Gear players who were supposed to come to this tournament, and he almost alienated them to not show up. And that leads into a bunch of other problems. So, I mean, I can go on and on with it. But, if you want to be a fucking Capcom cocksucker, that's on you. And whatever, do what you gotta do. But if you're trying to run a successful tournament, you don't alienate the other games and the players or enthusiasts of said games. That makes no fucking sense. At all. Because if DSP had just ran an all Capcom tournament, he wouldn't have gotten nearly the what they call it? Not show out. The participation, if you will. Not nearly as many people would have shown up to it. That's what happens when you're fucking single-minded. It's what happens when you're narrow-minded, I should say. And it's something he never grew out of.
Yeah, you know, ever since Evo started live streaming, I don't watch it. I don't care about it. It's just 100% jealousy.
But it's not just that he was jealous. He was lying too. He knew what the results were. To be honest, there were screenshots. It wasn't on. It wasn't on Kiwi Farms. It was on either Capcom United or Event Hubs, where they actually, someone, I don't know who it was, but someone had literally had screenshots of DSP in the chat for certain Evo games, mainly Street Fighter and whatnot. Like I said, I can't find those things now, though. Like, I can't remember if it has something to do with the purge or what happened on that site. But there were a couple of screenshots of him in there trying to mingle with, you know, other notable people. And it didn't really pan out because the dude's a fucking NPC. You don't know how to speak to people.
You guys know I play fighting games. I play them on more of a cat.
Actually, don't hold me to that. There might be those same screenshots may have made it to Kiwi Farms. Maybe. I might actually have them on like an old PC or a laptop now that I think about it. I'll look. I know I saw it for sure on Capcom United or fucking Event Hubs.
Casual level. Sometimes I'll get to a competitive level with certain games, but mostly the newer games I don't bother with it because I don't think they're even worth it. So I could get.
Wait, let me bring that back because that right there brings us back to Street Fighter 6.
Sometimes I'll get to a competitive level with certain games, but mostly the newer games I don't bother with it because I don't think they're even worth it. So I really don't care about Evo. For those of you who do, congratulations, enjoy.
Hold on, let me bring that back a little further.
started live streaming. I don't watch it. I don't care about it. It's just 100% jealousy. You guys know I play fighting games. I play them on more of a casual level. Sometimes I'll get to a competitive level with certain games, but mostly the newer games I don't bother with it because I don't think they're even worth it.
But that wasn't the case with Street Fighter 6, was it? How many arcade sticks? How many different versions on console? Fucking A, bought a gaming PC. Sorry. Gifted a gaming PC so we could compete in Street Fighter 6. Failed on all 3 platforms. Literally showed not a lick of growth on across all 3 platforms. Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Holy shit. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely. And I think that hurts him. I think it's not even the Detractor shit, right? Not even the Detractor videos or whatever. Deep down, he knows. He knows. Deep in his gouty little soul, he knows that he ain't shit. He knows that all these years he tried to fight and say the Detractors don't know what they're fucking talking about. I am good at fighting games. I am good at Street Fighter. You're mediocre. You're average at best. Even some of the Detractors on this side of the fence who prop him up and try to say he's above average. Show me. Show me. Show me. Because when you put him up against tournament tested players, which is what he advertised himself as, he ain't failed each and every time. Each and every time. Jesus Christ, for Snake Eyes, he got on his hands and knees for the BBC. He didn't want no smoke. Oh my God, Snake Eyes! Oh my God, Snake Eyes! You guys remember that? You saw what Chris G did to him, and Chris G was toying with him. Chris G was toying with him. I mean, and then nephew just tap danced on his ass, and then so did the other guy. There was another, I can't think of dude's name. My fault. But there's another guy who makes FGC content that got into a couple matches with him too, and he toyed with Phil too. So tell me where the above average thing is at. I'll wait. I've been waiting, but I'll keep waiting. Just like with that situation with the Pride, I'll wait. I'll wait. Oh shit! Happy holidays to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Happy holidays. I'm just because I'm puffing. And I'm puffing heavy doesn't mean I'm trying to throw the smoke out there. It's the holiday season and shit. You always have 2025 to go ahead and get the smoke going.
So I really don't care about Evo. For those of you who do, congratulations, enjoy. Go watch and have fun. I don't care about Evo, and you know, I'm sure people will be telling me all about it all weekend, and I'll be like, that's nice, I don't care. It's always been my attitude. I just really don't care about the competitive scene anymore. You know, when I retired from the competitive scene in like 2007, I just didn't, you know. Creamer cheered. Thank you, Creamer Screamer, for the cheer. YOLO Dopper cheered and said, looks like Twitch is more strict about enforcing terms of service, while YouTube is more relaxed.
I wonder, was that the year that Taquito won in Street Fighter V? Actually, you know what? Let me play this out and let me look. I'm curious.
Would you say YouTube is still the Wild West? Do you think Twitch will become even more strict, where they make a culture of gamers that is really sensitive? Here's the thing. I don't think that Twitch is about making it insanely strict to the point where it becomes a bunch of, as people would say, SJW gamers. I don't think that's what it's about. I just think Twitch really wants to get rid of that negative element of people who are only here to do toxic kind of stuff, which is really what YouTube has become. If you look at the top YouTubers these days, not all of them, but some of them constantly put out toxic style content, and that's how they became popular. Logan Paul, the only reason he's popular at all on YouTube because he's a toxic fucking guy, but the guy's so dumb he doesn't even realize it. Like, he doesn't even realize the stuff he puts out is toxic, and he doesn't know why people don't like him.
Actually, that's not the reason why fucking Logan or Jake Paul are popular. They're popular because they brought all that they brought that huge demographic from Vine over to YouTube and shit, and they consolidated early. On top of the fact that they put out a bunch of different type of content. Not only did they put out a bunch of content, but they put out a bunch of different type of content. And the collabs and all of that. There's like a whole, like, if you really look at it, there's like a whole plan behind that bullshit. But if it wasn't for the following that they had on Vine, a huge ass following, I think they still would have made it big, but I don't know if they would have made it as big, at least as quickly.
That's how ignorant the guy is. But I think what Twitch is saying is we don't want that kind of crap on our site. We want people who are legitimate people into what they're doing. It's not just a money-making venture. It's not just create drama for views. We want people who are going to put out some kind of a content where not only is there value in the content, but this person realizes that when you broadcast in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people on a daily basis.
Okay, real quick. Excuse me. Okay, so for Street Fighter V, in Infiltration won in 2016, Taquito won in 2017, Infiltration won again in 2018, Problem X won in 2000. Well, sorry, Infiltration won Evo Japan in 2018, and Evo the actual Evo event was won by Problem X, and Taquito took second. 2019, it was Momochi. Bonchan won in. Oh, sorry, Momochi won Evo Japan in 2019. Bonchan won Evo that actual year. Yeah. Okay, so Taquito won in 2017. All right, just clarification. You know what I'm saying? Checking my facts.
You're kind of a role model. You've got to be someone who is going to be
Actually, hold on. Actually, I should know that because that year, Punk took second and Punk cried on stage. Not that I'm shitting on him for crying or nothing, but that's when that dude broke down on stage and shit. So, I mean, I should theoretically know that. I watched that shit live.
representative of morality and not someone who's there just to insult, not someone who's there just to propagate drama for money, that instead you're actually trying to put out some kind of a quality content. Why does Twitch do that? I really feel it's because they want to bring in things like the sponsorships. They want to bring in the ad revenue. They're working on an on-demand video site, much like YouTube. I'd much rather be here live on stream every day sharing fun gameplay experiences with you guys rather than focusing on a toxic piece of shit website where they want to say, hey, look at our Twitch where we really cleaned up things in the last year and now our site is much better. So if you're an advertiser, right, if you're a major company who wants to advertise, come to our new on-demand video website. Screw YouTube, dump them because their automated garbage doesn't work. Come to us where we've already cleaned up Twitch in the last year and we're going to have these same criteria on our new on-demand video website, right? I really feel that's why Twitch is doing it.
But that's not really but that doesn't make any sense here. For one, as it pertains to sponsorships, they actually addressed or reached out to the streamers directly, or they went through a lot of these advertiser sponsorships and endorsements companies. Know what streamer is what management company or management agency or whatever. Excuse me, and they go in through that. So like it wasn't about Twitch themselves trying to bring in sponsorships and endorsements or whatever, because it was not really difficult to do all that. Now, if you're someone like DSP and you're the bottom of the fucking barrel, I guess he was expecting trickle down economics. And I guess he thought sponsorships and endorsements would come to him that way. Gotta be proactive when you do shit like that. And DSP obviously wasn't proactive and his reputation was already shit. So there was no reason for Twitch to go to bat for him to get him sponsorship or put him in a position to get sponsorship. Yet again, going back to the major problem DSP has with his lack of anything. His lack of willing to do anything to help himself and to help his situation. It's always somebody else's responsibility. And hence the reason why nothing ever gets done.
I don't think that Twitch is trying to make this a ridiculously restrictive site where you always have to be watching your ass. But as long as you act reasonable and you don't go off the cuff and lose control of yourself and say ridiculous things that are offensive.
Projection.
And don't steal other people's content and you're not saying toxic things to get attention from your viewers.
More projection.
I think you're fine.
Twitch, right now, I can pretty much control.
You know, and I'll be honest, when they first changed their terms of service earlier this year, I got into a little bit of a hot water with some things that I said and did. And I, kind of checked myself and said, you know what? It's not that hard to not lose control. Just got to be calm and patient, right? And I've been good. And it's hilarious because people have actually tried to frame me in the past couple of months and say that I did things that I didn't do. And Twitch reviewed it and said, this is bullshit, and just ignored it, which is great. I actually feel...
And that's why he made that demand. It was really more of a suggestion. That's why he made that suggestion to Curse when allegedly they were fighting all those troll reports. And Phil was like, hey, you guys know it's bullshit. You know that these are people just trying to troll me and make me look bad and yada, 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 yada. So couldn't you guys, instead of you spending all this money getting this person to go through each and every one of these reports? Couldn't you just ignore that and just let me have a pass? And the guy or whoever it was he spoke to was like, the fuck? No, because if you actually do something, we're held accountable. That's where DSP got that bullshit from. Because Twitch ain't sat there and coddled his ass for all those years.
Feel like now I'm in a place where not only can you guys come and have a fun, safe stream and a very interesting environment for interactivity and fun gameplay, but it's it's not going to be overrun with toxicity and nonsense because I've basically adjusted my content right to be better in line with what Twitch wants, and I think it's for the better, quite frankly. And what it means is that now I'm protected from all that nonsense. People mass reporting me on a daily basis doesn't matter anymore because Twitch knows that I'm abiding by their rules.
You click on it. Oh. Good. Now I'm away from that annoying fucking bitch of a kid who I would have slapped in real fucking life if they talked to me like that. I would have fucking pimped.
See right there, he's muted. I've had this back and forth with people for a while now. He's muted right there. He wasn't talking that hot shit to that chick with his mic still on, or that child. When that mic was still on and shit, his mic was muted. And he was sitting there talking shit about that 11-year-old, but he had to wait till he was safe and outside of that room and then fucking muted that bullshit to do that stuff. Fucking coward. Got 11-year-olds running. Or, sorry, 11-year-olds are pushing his shit in, making his ass run. Look at that crazy shit. Oh, fuck, man. I knew he was muted when he talked that bullshit about that kid. Fuck, man.
Slapped that shit out of that. What the fuck? Anyway.
You can say whatever you want, lie however you want. It's not going to affect anything. You know what I mean? This is the God's honest truth. All right. Tons of fans and he's a smart guy. You know what? You say whatever you want. All right. About Logan Paul. You like him, you dislike him. All right. All I know is we all know what he did on YouTube. We know, that it's not just him, but a class of people on YouTube that literally led.
He's talking about the Japanese forest thing. But that, and even still as disrespectful as that is, didn't even matter. This idiot made it all the way to the WWE. Jesus, Phil. That dude made it all the way to the WWE. You know what I've been waiting for? And it hasn't happened yet because because his schedule is limited. I'm waiting for the day that Logan Paul goes down to the fucking ring and shit, and he sees a DSP get a job sign, and he picks that shit up and puts that shit in front of the camera. I'm waiting for the day for him to do that shit. I think he will too. One day.
To the ad revenue apocalypse, and people like him who keep putting up that kind of crap on YouTube are the reason why YouTube fell apart at the seams. And sadly, it's Google and YouTube that propagate that kind of toxic crap that have ruined the website. So say what you want. Oh no, his big fan base, he's a smart guy. I don't care. All I know is what I know from seeing the crap that we've seen from him. And I really feel that it's people like him and a lot of others who created the downfall of YouTube.
Sounds like an opinion, not a fact, but whatever.
By the way, this was before YouTube was 100% toxic shit like it is now as well. And again, it should be said once again, the only...
Keep in mind, this is the same asshole who was bitching and complaining that vloggers were crossing over from vlogging into gaming. And were pushing, as he said, the little guy himself, pushing them down further and further and further to make even more money, even though they were making crazy money off of vlogs. So keep that in mind.
The reason that YouTube is still in business is because they're backed by Google and have unlimited funds.
They're idiots. I work for Google. I'm smart. I'm a hipster. And we have playtime where we do fucking, Pilates, and we push invisible objects and we meditate because we're Google and we're smart. And we're going to have all this cool thing on YouTube like paid subscriptions to get rid of ads. Durr.
If any major...
The same paid subscription plan that he ended up promoting years later. Imagine that.
Competition actually stood up to them, they'd be gone. No one wants to use their website anymore. Everyone's done with that shit. We are literally all waiting with bated breath for Amazon to launch their own version so we can get the fuck off YouTube.
And they were never going to do that. But why would you pray for the downfall of a site or of any business that you're making money off of? Make that make sense.
Because we're just tired of that toxic shit. And Creamer Screamer Cheerda wants me to play the game. Don't worry. Don't worry. I will play the game.
You just got to be patient and stop asking for the same goddamn thing like a petulant child, because it's not going to make it come any faster.
There's people out there who don't even know anything about me, who hate me. I don't care what anyone
outside of my viewership watching my videos directly says about me. And I'm not just talking, little old guy who just watches a video on YouTube doesn't. I'm talking content creators, big YouTubers and streamers literally know nothing actually about me. All they've heard is the negative shit, and so they hate me.
Remember, this is 2018. This isn't early this year. This isn't late last year. This isn't late 2020 and whatnot, when the idea was floating around of, interviews and shit like that. This is 2018.
I don't care if another YouTuber who doesn't really watch my shit heard through the grapevine that DSP's a bad YouTuber and talks shit about me. Who the fuck gives a crap? Because they don't actually know who I am and what I do. That's not good, That's not good to have an army of toxicity against you for reasons that aren't valid. You know what I mean? So even though I admit, and you see people every day, they'll say, yeah, I didn't know who the hell Phil was till I heard negative stuff about him, so I came and checked out his stuff for myself, and now I actually, you know what? Why are we hesitating? Tell me, Phil, how you turn those people into fans. Just like how allegedly every detractor that has troll remorse has gone over there to you and apologized in some way, shape, or form and given you money and have seen the fault in their ways, and now they understand that they were part of the problem and never really part of the solution. Yes, Phil, go ahead and feed me that piggy propaganda, please. Please try to feed that shit to me. Enjoy it. Right? Now I actually enjoy the content because I actually gave it a legit chance. Okay? And when I gave it a legit chance, it ended up being pretty good, This guy said this about you. Did you hear this guy shit on you? Did you hear what this guy said about you at this event? And you know what I said? I don't fucking care. MTC Dude cheered. He says, I want you to know I'm a true and honest DSP fan. Well, I don't know if you're serious or not, because it seems like you're doing a sarcastic cheer with that emote you used. But I welcome everyone. You don't have to be a hardcore huge fan or whatever, right? Ziggy Piggy cheered. He says, I'm kind of confused why you think my question was dumb. Normal people don't typically keep personal information they're afraid of other people seeing in their kitchens. That's false. All the time, a lot of people put stuff up on their fridges, right? And for important information about, here's important contact numbers. Here's
you mean the shopping list that we saw that had gin on it? Is that so important, Phil, that you got to hide that from people? You got to hide that alcoholism? I got you. No problem.
Information about doctor's appointment. Here's a schedule, right? Here's a place that I frequent commonly, so I put up common information about them in the kitchen or hang it out. Things that you
don't have. Wait, I'm sorry. You don't have like an appointment book like everybody else? You don't have a notepad that you can leave on your counter that you can move to a table or something? Like, I don't know, man. It sounds pretty autistic if you ask me. I'm sorry. It sounds a whole lot like bullshit.
Take on a daily basis,
But it actually does pose the question that because you remember how he used to, for those of you who remember how he used to have like that writable calendar where he used to that the whole game schedule was on there, all the new releases, when he was going to play them, all that was all on his calendar. He had it all the way back to when he was in Connecticut. I'm sorry. And then a few years into Washington, he just kind of gave up on it. That might explain why he's so fucking scatterbrained and shit now. It might explain why he can't really keep things in order and why he's willing to, quote unquote, shift the schedule around the way he does. Because he don't have no structure. You know what I'm saying? Like, DSP is literally one of these people who needs to be regimented and needs to have structure in almost every facet of his life. If not, it's complete and utter chaos. Because he can't think on his own. He can't think on the fly. He can't adapt. He can't adjust. He can't do any of that. It has to all be planned out. If not, he just goes into a panic. And you guys know that's true because you guys have seen it. So I gotta say, if you look at how games are played, how many games have been rage quitted or wage quitted, and just the infrequency of him playing the new releases on day one like he should and putting them off for days on end, if not weeks on end at times. Maybe it does come back to that. Maybe it is the fact that he's autistic and his autism is like flaring up because he's too lazy to actually go ahead and re-regiment himself back to writing everything down and planning everything out weeks in advance. And that in WWE Champions, his spending has ramped up which is probably how he copes with his day-to-day failure. So there is no money to put aside to actually buy games anymore. He just has to hope he can raise the money the day before, or someone gives him a free copy to reinsure the playthrough will actually happen. On top of all the money that he's already getting off of them on the front end. It's funny how none of that money ever goes to buying the game itself. Someone else has to donate it. Or we have to wait till we're down to the wire to actually be able to buy it through that day's tips. Something to think about. And if you want proof of that, go back to the last DSP tries that he was supposed to do. What was they supposed to be eating? I think it's Popeyes. This dude literally wasn't going to do the DSP tries it unless he got the money that day, during the day stream to actually pay for it. But what about the streak leading up to it? Now I know, if I remember correctly, the streak ended before that Friday. I think it ended that Thursday. But think about all the money that was made leading up to that. And he still didn't have the money to get him and his wife some fucking Popeyes chicken? All right, bro.
Billion things I could bring up. It's just common stuff that would be in a kitchen. So, Ziggy Piggy, you don't know what you're talking about.
What's the story about your stupid questions?
Pretty silly, pretty stupid, in my opinion. And yes, your question was dumb. I'm sorry, it was.
You ain't even put in a day of work. Now they going crazy because I made it first. See, homie, I just made it work. It's a cold world. That's my old girl. She's in my pain and I ain't even trying to make it hurt.
Alrighty. All right, big ups to Memology. Oh boy. Another Goutmas in the book. Well, either the start of it or depending on where this goes out. Depending on how this ends up shaping itself up. But yeah, like I said, hopefully you guys can kind of see the method and the madness and how I'm structuring some of this. And like I said, DSP has not really shown anything new. It's all rehashed from something else. But it also, yet again, is the roadmap to why we're at where we're at now. It's really fascinating, to be honest with you. And it never gets old, which is wild if you think about it. But I'm not going to stay on the side and let him not fail. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He's so good at it. Who am I to interfere on that? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. Season's greetings and happy holidays to all of you. As you guys know, Chio18 made the intro and whatnot, so big ups to her, and thank you very much for everything that she has done for all of us and whatnot. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Now, whether it comes out at the same time as it came out today, I couldn't tell you, but I will see you guys tomorrow. Maybe. Hopefully. Season's greetings and happy holidays. Catch you guys later.